legislation, but also our Christian brothers. We also want to build interfaith coalitions and confront anti-Semitism. Some of the things that we've been involved with is that we've supported fundraising efforts by a number of organizations that are helping Israelis on the ground that have been involved and have been suffering since the October 7th war. One of the major activities now that we've all been involved with is participating in lobbying efforts on behalf of Senate Bill 87, which was recently passed by the Ohio State Senate, and now has moved to the House and is awaiting approval from the House before it can be signed by the governor. This would establish the international definition of anti-Semitism for legal purposes to protect Jews who face discrimination or other things in the public arena, and has been adopted already by 35 other states. So we are happy to learn just recently that this bill has been moved to the Judiciary Committee, really with the support of the majority of the House of Representatives, and we have many supporters up for the Ohio State Senate as well, and we expect it to go through easily, but we would like everybody here to go to our website, and we have a whole list of instructions for how you can contact the House Judiciary Committee members and the chair of the House Judiciary Committee in support of this bill. So you can make phone calls or messages, or you can send letters. It's very important that we mobilize our Cincinnatians who are interested in this to show that we're out here and we support them. We also have been trying to reach out to Christians who support Israel, Christians United for Israel. And one of our members has actually been attending the meetings and trying to build bonds with this group who really have an admiration for Israel and support Israel through this difficult time. And one of the last things that we've been doing is really things like this, events like this where we bring in speakers who have some local Cincinnati connections. We had Troy Rothenberg give a talk on the Abraham Accords, which was very well received. That was back in October, I believe, last year. And we're very happy to have Glenn join us for a similar experience. And I would like to say, the last thing I have to say is that we are an independent 501c3, and our activities are entirely supported through donations and contributions. So I would ask anybody here today to consider contributing. Will help to cover the cost of this event, as well as others in the future. So we have passed out some flyers, and I think it gives you several ways that you can send contributions. And with that, I will turn over the microphone to Carol Rady. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. If you're hungry, lunch is going to be a little late, but we're taking care of lunch, so if you want to stay, we'll have a real nice lunch very shortly. Glenn Bochner, who was a Cincinnati resident from 1985 to 2023, after earning his master's degree in mechanical engineering from Georgia Tech. He was an executive at P&G, Procter & Gamble, where he created and led several organizations. He and his wife Nellie founded and hosted Congregation Shevet Achim in Sycamore Township in their home for 10.5 years. Glenn served on the boards of Gulf Manor Synagogue, Ohab Shalom Synagogue, Cincinnati Hebrew Day School, JCRC, and was the NCSY advisor, a Pi fraternity advisor for Miami University, and Chevron Kadisha. He continues to follow the Bengals, the Reds. He got to see a good game yesterday, by the way, from their home in the Baca neighborhood of Jerusalem, where they have lived for the past 2.5 years. Glenn and Nellie are major proponents of adult unity among the Jewish people and continue to serve as volunteers, matchmakers for Jewish singles. Glenn was a mention Cincinnati, and now he's a mention Israel. Welcome, Glenn Bochner.
So thank you so much to everybody for coming out today. Great to see you, and great for Nellie and me to be back in a place that feels very familiar. It feels like we never left. We've been greeted so warmly, and it was our experience for so many years. So as we think about the Jewish world today, I'm sure we all can think about many issues, whether we're Jewish or even just aligned with the state of Israel and so on. And some of the biggest issues that we can think about is the level of support that Israel enjoys or actually doesn't enjoy in the world, the number of perceptions that are out there that are false and are propagating that seem to be leading to anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic violence, even in our own country here, certainly around the world. And the sense of concern for Jewish unity, as Darrell mentioned in his introduction, Nellie and I are big proponents of unity among all the Jewish people and, frankly, among the supporters of us as well. So I'm here to tell you today about an initiative that addresses all of those concerns and how I got involved in it. So about 7 years ago, the former Minister of Science and Technology in Israel, a gentleman named Professor Dani Hershkovitz, decided that he and 3 other people were going to form an organization to help convey the good that Israel is doing in the world. If you think about what was going on in the world 7 years ago, it was pre-COVID. It was a pretty kind of mild time. We didn't have a lot of infighting within the Jewish people. We didn't have a lot of wars to defend ourselves against. And so as they were getting started with that organization 7 years ago, then COVID hit. And for a few years, the idea of bringing people together to Israel wasn't feasible at all. No one was traveling, as we all remember, unfortunately. Nellie and I were innocently living here in Cincinnati. As Darrell mentioned, we had a congregation called Shevet Achim in our house. We have several people who have been part of that congregation here today, and we thank you for coming out. And but we had a plan that was a 5-year plan to make Aliyah. And we fulfilled that plan with great joy on September 27, 2023. You think about September 27, 2023, you can think that was 10 days before the world changed pretty dramatically. And when we got there with our hearts full of joy, just so excited at the opportunities. And I had retired from Procter & Gamble and was looking for something to sink my teeth into. And Nellie and I have always taken the approach that we want to make a real dent in helping the world in some way. And when we lived here and worked at Procter & Gamble, I felt I was so blessed to work as part of a great company, good benefits, really smart and capable people, creating good products for the world, but it never felt on its own that it was representing and supporting the causes that I felt were the most important, which are support for the state of Israel, support for the Jewish people, and appreciation for those who support the Jewish people. So I found out that just a few weeks after arrival that my life was about to change. So the Jerusalem Post contacted Nellie and me literally a few weeks after we got there, just in the beginning of the war, and they said, listen, we'd like to profile you guys. You're new Olim, newcomers to the state of Israel. Can we write an article about you to tell everybody who you are? And I actually said, no, I really don't want to do that because we just got here. We haven't accomplished anything yet. Why don't you profile somebody who's been here for a while, who's done some great things? And so they said, no, this is what we do. We profile newcomers. And so finally I said, if you are willing to write about the things that we hope to accomplish, then I'm okay with it. And they did. They wrote a nice article about us. They put our picture in the paper. And one of the founders of this organization called Skies saw my picture, contacted me, and the rest is history. SKIES, the organization that I'm co-leading today, stands for Sharing Knowledge and Innovations, Empowering Success. Sharing Knowledge and Innovations, Empowering Success. The website is skies-israel.org. Let me describe what it's really about. So SKIES believes that it's very important to share the good that Israel is doing in the world. So many of us, including, we have a board of 50 people, many members of our board are spending a lot of their time refuting the false accusations about Israel. They're being invited on news programs, and some of them are well-known individuals that you recognize their names. So Hillel Fould is one that you might know his name, a very prolific person on Facebook and in other places, among a lot of other well-known people. And so they have to spend a lot of their time in a very difficult exercise, which is to go on a program like on CNN or MSNBC and to face the accusations of, well, wait a minute, isn't Israel starving the people of Gaza? Isn't Israel committing genocide? Isn't Israel truly an apartheid country? Well, those of us who are in the know might say, well, those are ridiculous accusations. And yet that's what's going on in the world today. It's going on in the United Nations, and it's going on throughout Europe, and it's even going on within the Jewish community around the world. There are concerns that are circulating. So SKIES celebrates the fact that we have people on our board who have devoted their lives to refuting those accusations, to being the David against the Goliath, where it's how are they possibly going to win this, but they go into that battle anyway. We believe that that's necessary, but that's not our message at all. Our message is, first of all, engage with Israel. If you can come to Israel, physically come to Israel. If you can't physically come to Israel, connect with people in Israel. Because that's step one. We've heard this story many, many times by people who are visiting. They say, I've been here 24 hours, and everything that I thought was true about Israel is not true. And I've heard that dozens of times by people, including Jewish people who, quote, you might know better. But that's a common refrain because the way Israel is portrayed by the media, I'm not saying every media outlet, but I'm saying the vast majority, is that Israel is one of the worst places on earth. I'm here to tell you, having lived there for now maybe Aliyah 3 years ago, it's the best place on earth, and it's not even close. The United States is a great place. I'm very proud to be from here, and I have a lot of great ties, and our children and our granddaughter live here. My mother-in-law lives here. We love this country. Israel is the best place on earth. And I'm very proud to say that what SKIES is doing is amplifying the ways that Israel is helping the world. We're creating a global summit this December about Israeli innovation. So on one level, it's a technology conference. There are plenty of those that exist already. We're choosing for our conference to focus on 4 specific areas where Israel really is leading the world in terms of innovations. And those areas include healthcare, space and defense, eco-sustainability, so green energy and agriculture and everything else, and also social impact. So those are the areas that we're choosing to focus on in our conference. But ultimately, the conference is truly about presenting the best of the state of Israel to the world. We're putting it on at the International Convention Center, Binyanei Haoma, as it's called, in Jerusalem, which is, for those of you who have been there, it's very close to the ICC, or Binyanei Haoma, very close to the central Jerusalem train and bus stations. And we're planning to have several thousand people there. And our objective, ultimately, is a few things. One is to improve how Israel is viewed in the world. Second is to strengthen the economy of the state of Israel. And third is to connect with people who are looking for a way to connect to Israel. And by the way, I'll be happy to take questions in a few minutes after I give a little bit more of an overview of what we're planning to do. So who are we planning to bring to an event like that? Well, we're very fortunate that we've made some great connections, and in the state of Israel, it's quote, easy to do so. So I've personally been able to meet with Mike Huckabee, with members of Knesset, with other ministers in the state of Israel. And these are easy to do because everybody there knows everybody else. It's a country of 10 million people, but everyone is part of everyone else's business. And so we're looking, first of all, to have business leaders there. So thankfully, with my connection in Cincinnati, through Procter & Gamble, we are connected to all the chambers of commerce, the bilateral chambers of commerce around the globe. So like Israel to the United States, there are many across the U.S., many chambers of commerce that are focused on Israel. So there's one in Chicago, for example. I just came from Arizona. There's one, we were there just a few days ago. There's one there as well. There's one in LA. They're all over the U.S., but there are also 95 country-to-country connections that Israel has with chambers of commerce, the Argentina-Israel Chamber of Commerce. And we're planning to bring all 95 chambers of commerce to our convention and the leading businesses that they represent. So business is one level. Another level are the governmental leaders. Israel does have some friends in the world. It's not Israel against the world. Of course, the United States is the most important and leading friend. But we have friends, for example, in Argentina that I just mentioned, we've made great friends in Panama. I've connected with the Panamanian ambassador to Israel, and he's very excited to bring the business leaders of Panama to this kind of event. Because while they're there, they're going to meet some of the most incredible innovations you can see. And for those of you who are proud Zionists, that's another group of people that we're looking to include in our conference. We all have suffered, all of us who are proud Zionists have suffered emotionally over the last 2.5 years. We envision what the hostages went through. We envision what the families who were attacked went through. We've seen personally so many of the families that were displaced for so many years and what they went through. And it's so impressive, I have to tell you this. It's one thing if somebody said to you, hey, I have a friend, his home is under construction, he has no kitchen, his home really isn't functional, can you take him into your house for a week? Well, most of us, I think, would probably consider that if we had a way to do that. What we're witnessing in Israel are people who are taking care of one another, who are strangers, for 2.5 years on an ongoing basis without knowing what the end point is. The level of pride that we all should have in how Israel is conducting itself through this war, through this most devastating time, couldn't be bigger. People ask me, well, how is it going for you? How did it go for you compared to what you expected? And I said, well, I have to say, my expectations when I moved to Israel were here. The result, I can't even reach how high it is. I am so in love with the life that we're living there. I feel so blessed every day to walk the streets of Jerusalem and to feel that my life is creating value and purpose, that everything that I do is infused with meaning. And we're trying to connect with people who feel that way about the state of Israel, to come back to Israel, or to come to Israel for the first time. And yes, you should visit places like the Nova Festival if you can. It's very depressing, very difficult, but it's an important part of our history for those of us who are able to manage that, and not everybody is. A lot of us still have PTSD from the experience. But there's so much positive to celebrate, and that's what the Skies Conference is about. It's about celebrating the positives of what Israel is doing in the world, and I'm going to cite just a few examples. So, in the morning prayers, one of the blessings that is said is, thank you, God, for restoring sight to the blind. And that has a lot of interpretations. Well, I want to tell you about a company called Kornit. They are in Ra'anana, Israel. You know what they do? They restore sight to the blind. They've created synthetic corneas that the body is able to absorb, that literally they take people who could not see, and now they can see. And we are creating an entire convention hall filled with 200 booths of things that we want people to say, wow, I can't even believe that this exists. And that's the objective, is that not just to say, okay, I see that Israel is doing better than I thought, but to take such pride in what's going on there. Many of you might know this statistic. I'll throw it out to see if anybody knows. What percentage of startup businesses around the world succeed? Does anybody know the number? You want to take a guess?
5%, maybe?
5? I heard 5. So on a good day, it's 10%. And it's to say that it's not to discourage people from trying to pursue their dreams and to run a startup, but it is to say that it's very difficult to succeed. In Israel, if let's say the percentage is 10%, in Israel the percentage of success of startups is 3 to 3.5 times the global average. It's 30 to 35%. It's the highest in the world. The percentage of unicorns per capita in Israel, highest in the world. The percentage of startups in Israel per capita, the highest in the world. Everyone knows about Israel as the startup nation. There's an organization there called Startup Nation Central. In fact, they're one of the partners of Skies. There's an organization there called Our Crowd that you might be familiar with. They're one of the leading venture capital firms that are based in Israel. They're a partner of Skies as well. And so we're trying to capitalize on the business-to-business side of this. So we're also looking for investors to come. We've reached out to, we have 8 investor groups who are already tied to Skies from around the world. Not surprisingly, a lot of businesses are looking for funds. They've succeeded. They've entered the Israeli market in many cases. They're now looking to expand. So I told you about Kornit. They're restoring sight to the blind, literally. Let me tell you about Terra Space Lab. Terra Space Lab has developed technology to be able to scan every tree on the planet. Every tree on the planet every 10 minutes. Well, how's that going to help? Well, let's say that a forest fire starts like the one that happened in California, where billions with a B dollars of damage occurred. Terra Space Lab technology equips these cameras that scan areas on the ground, as I said, with a series of satellites that pass the signal from one to the next. They look at every tree on the planet every 10 minutes. So if a forest fire should start, within 10 minutes they can get a signal to the ground that this is going on, with the objective being to reduce billions of dollars of loss, insurance loss and everything else with fires, not to mention people's emotional trauma from that. And that's going on in the state of Israel. They equip these satellites to 17 kilogram, they equip cameras to 17 kilogram satellites. 17 kilograms is less than our suitcases are going to be that are traveling. It's about 40 pounds, right? And so while others in the world are trying to do it, others in the world have not benefited from Israeli ingenuity. And so they're offering that technology to the globe. And they're doing it very affordably. That same technology can detect oil spills. So you can imagine how many countries in the world would benefit from knowing that, well, you have a forest fire that's occurred there that you might not realize, or you have an oil slick that's starting to build. That's another technology. Another technology that we have a company in Israel, and this is a very personal story, because my mother ended her last years of her life were here in Cedar Village. My mother unfortunately had ALS, and so I moved her here, and I saw with great difficulty that my mother was not able to do the basic bodily functions of something like picking up a glass of water and taking a drink. There's a company in Israel that's developed a glove for ALS patients and others with neurological disorders that through voice commands or keyboard commands, and soon enough through visual commands, can put on a glove, can direct their hand to come to a cup of water, can apply blood pressure to close on the cup without breaking it. Some cups, of course, are very strong, some cups are very flimsy, and it has the right amount of force to do that, to be able to bring it to your lips, to take a sip and put it back. Another company in Israel has developed technology for people who are wheelchair bound to be able to not only get around their day, but to be able to interact with people eye to eye. They have a technology that's basically a vertical wheelchair that can walk up steps. And if the person says, and you don't realize this unless you've had the experience, unfortunately, being in a wheelchair. It's very difficult when you can't look at people eye to eye. When you're in your kitchen and you can't reach things on the normal shelves that even somebody who's 5 feet tall can reach. And so they've developed a technology that allows a person to be vertical, but they thought about one of the problems that occurs there. Well, what happens if a person is vertical and they're properly supported, but their leg muscles aren't used to them being vertical, and so they get very exhausted by that. With a push of one button, or again, with a blink of one eye, the wheelchair tilts back, and they can take a rest wherever they are. It's amazing. So what Israel continues to do in all of these fields is to develop solutions to the world's biggest problems. And we're so excited to be able to see them ourselves and to share them with the globe. In so doing, we believe that we can engender peace throughout the region. We know about the Abraham Accords. We know through our connections that there are a lot of countries in the region that are waiting for the opportunity to be able to sign an official agreement with the State of Israel. Saudi Arabia is the biggest fish that's out there, and that's not far away. It's much closer than we might think. And Israel has a lot to offer to those countries, and so when we offer those things to those countries, they engage with us. It's economically beneficial to both. Ultimately, it delivers on a message of peace that we're trying to strive for. So our plan, and I'll conclude with this, is we have a number of events coming up. And I'll just describe those, and I'll be happy to take any questions or thoughts that you might have. So one of the events that we have coming up is a social media influencer event. Once the rockets stop falling from the current crisis with Iran, we're scheduling. We have 40 social media influencers from around the world. For some of us who are my age and older, you might say, well, why is that even significant? I have to explain why. So, one of our partners is Hadassah Hospital. Hadassah Hospital, the Director General, Yoram Weiss, comes to the U.S. periodically, regularly, as I joked with him, with an empty suitcase, with the idea being, how many stacks of 20s can he fit in that suitcase? And he goes back to Israel, and they cover their budget for the year. And that's how he's been doing it, and how Hadassah has been doing it for decades. It's worked out great. So he went last summer here to the United States on his normal tour. And I'm talking about he went into the normal places where people have been generational donors to Hadassah Hospital. And these are people who are well integrated into the Jewish community mostly. And they said to him, Professor, we're not sure we can donate to Hadassah anymore. Why? Well, we keep hearing these reports about how Israel is starving the people in Gaza. And how can we support your hospital or any company or any organization in the state of Israel if you're starving the people of Gaza? And so he couldn't believe that people who, quote, are in the know, believe these false narratives that are propagated. We can see, all of us, I'm sure, we all talk about it all the time. How was it that the universities in the United States and around the world so quickly mobilized against Israel before Israel even responded to the October 7th attack? How did so many campuses spring up with these tent cities and people protesting what was going on? Well, it was a very well coordinated. We have to give them credit for their intelligence and their strategy and their execution. It was a very well coordinated attack on the world's Jewish community and against the state of Israel. And it continues till today. And so what we found is that when we bring people to Israel, we did this in December, we brought 30 social media influencers to the state of Israel. We said to them, listen, we're not going to tell you what to think. We're just taking you around the country and we're sharing so that you can see what this country is about, how small this country is, how beautiful the country is. We're introducing you to the innovators of the state of Israel for you to formulate your own opinions. If you have any questions, we're happy to take them, but we just want you to see what we have going on here. And that group of people, which included a lot of non-Jews, could not believe what they were witnessing. They put together amazing movies of their experiences. And when they share those things out with their millions of followers, it makes a real impact on people, because a lot of us are walking around, I can see them on the tables, with a media device, a cell phone. And a lot of us, especially the younger generations, are not relying on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN any longer to get their news. They're relying on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, if you're a little older, etc. And that we have to recognize is what we're up against. So we've selected the strategy of bringing top global social media influencers to Israel. From around the world, we've deliberately chosen people from lots of different continents around the world who are technology-based people. We're deliberately choosing more non-Jewish people this time than Jewish people, because we believe that when a non-Jewish person says, I went to Israel and here's what I found, it somehow gives more credibility even to the Jewish community than it does when a Jewish person goes, well, you're biased anyway, we question your loyalties. So we all know about that. So we're planning a major social media influencers event probably in the June-July time. That's the first thing. The second thing is this major global summit that we're planning for December. It's December 14th through 16th. I always have to put a caveat by it to say that we have to make sure that our conference corresponds to a time that the global airlines are flying to Israel. We got here with a little bit of difficulty. We flew El Al to Portugal and then Delta from Portugal to the United States because it's not so easy always to travel to Israel. So if everything should be well, we're planning it at that time. And we deliberately chose that, frankly, to be between Christmas and New Year's because we wanted to pick a time that the United States community, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, could come here. So that's December 14th through 16th. It's a 3-day event. 2 days at Binyanei Ha'umah, the International Convention Center, where people can choose to say, well, I'm in the healthcare field, I'm going to dedicate my entire conference to healthcare. Or you can say, I'm going to choose to pick and choose from all the different things that are going on. There are going to be brainstorming discussions where we're inviting our guests to submit problems that they're facing in their communities around the world, where we're going to have an Israeli-chaired brainstorming discussion to solve their problem. So they can not only walk away with, I can't believe the innovations that I saw, but I'm walking away with connections and solutions to the problems that I face. So after 2 days at Binyanei Ha'umah, the third day of our conference is tours around the country. People will choose the tours that they want to take. Some might want to take academic tours of the country. We're making a special push for students. We talked about how difficult the younger generation is to believe in the state of Israel. Some of us have children and grandchildren who are not big proponents of the state of Israel that we are. And we think it's very important for them to be exposed to what's going on in the state of Israel, to consider even taking a semester there, but at the very least feel that they can find their place connected to the state of Israel. So that's our major summit. We're going to plan to do that every year. So if you can't catch it this year in person, you'll be able to attend virtually through a live feed. You'll be able to attend it on a recorded basis as well. And hopefully you'll come for the 2027 conference if you can't make it to 2026. And the third thing that I want to share with you, this could directly affect Cincinnati. We have been invited to take some global trade shows to bring the innovations of Israel around the world. So we are currently planning a U.S. tour that features Arizona, California, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, and New York. You notice I did not mention Ohio. I would love to come here. I'm going to be organizing this tour. I would love to come here. What is going to be necessary is to find a venue that's willing to share it. And here we're talking about 40 top Israeli innovation companies with their CEOs or COOs or whoever they feel is the best presenter of their company in English to come to a ballroom in a city where for 2 days they have an open space to walk around, for people to walk around and visit the various companies and hear about them and think about becoming a client or an investor or a business partner with those companies, or just saying, you know what, I want to increase my level of knowledge so that I can increase my pride for what the state of Israel is doing. So we're looking for those venues for cities, states to organize those events, invite local and statewide politicians, business owners, Zionists, students, and so love to find interest in Cincinnati to do something like that, and you can follow up with me afterwards. Just in closing, I do want to mention that, like the great host for this event today, our organization is also an amutah, as it's called in Israel, a nonprofit, which has an Israeli and an American designation. So if you're interested in donating to help support all these great things that we're trying to accomplish, you can go to skies-israel.org. There's a donate button on our website. If it's easier for you to get a QR code, I have that available as well. We'd be happy to hear any questions or thoughts that you have. Thank you very much.